The Clockmaker's hamster in a quiet town where time seemed to move a little slower, lived a hamster named Oliver. He wasn't famous, he wasn't special, he was just curious. But Oliver's story isn't like most hamster stories. Because Oliver didn't live in a cage full of colorful tubes, or in a kid's bedroom. Oliver lived in a clock shop, and not just any clock shop. It was owned by a man named Mr. Penumbra, the last true clockmaker in the town of Windlebrook. No, Mr. Penumbra was no ordinary man. His beard was white as ash, and his spectacles always slid to the tip of his nose, but it was his hands that made him famous. Those old fingers, trembling with age, could fix anything from cuckoo clocks that had stopped singing, to wristwatches lost for decades that just needed one last turn of the screw. And nestled between the wooden drawers of gears and brass lived Oliver, the clockmaker's only companion. Oliver had grown up around ticking. It was the sound of home. Tick tock, tick tock. Every hour brought a symphony, cuckoos bursting from their doors, gears spinning, music boxes chiming in harmony. And every hour Oliver would sit on a tiny velvet cushion near the counter and listen. But one day, the ticking changed. Penumbra coughed. He sat down suddenly, clutching his chest. Oliver squeaked, scrambling across the workbench. Penumbra looked down at his little friend and smiled sadly. It seems even clocks run out of time, my friend. He didn't come back to the shop after that, and the clocks began to stop. Oliver was Alanea's shop, once so full of sound and movement, was now still. Dust gathered, cobwebs grew between the pendulums, but Oliver didn't give up. He remembered every movement, every gear placement, every whispered explanation from the old man had watched for years. Now, it was time to act. And here's where things get strange, because one night, while exploring behind the largest grandfather clock in the corner, Oliver found a hidden door. Around brass keyhole sat in its center, etched above it, in swirling letters, "Time only for those who dare," and beneath it was a key shaped like a hamster. Oliver turned the key, wall clicked. The clock above it struck 13, a number it had never struck before, and, with a groan of ancient wood and winding springs, door opened. Inside was the clockwork world, a hidden city made entirely of gears, cogs, pulleys, and light. Streets spun on revolving platforms, bridges ticked forward with every passing second. Mechanical creatures moved in harmony. At the center of it all, a glowing tower, heart of time. Oliver stepped into the world, and the world shifted. Gears hummed in response to his pulse. The floor lit up beneath him. He wasn't just a visitor, was the successor. Penumbra had built more than clocks, had built a world where time was alive, and Oliver had been chosen to protect it. But not all gears turned smoothly in the shadow of the heart. A crack had formed. A darkness, Clockmites, tiny creatures of rust and shadow, had begun to eat away at the gears. If the heart of time stopped, so would the world above. Days would freeze, seasons would never change, moments would be lost. Oliver had one coeto turn back, or to fix time itself, chose to fix. I've raced through spinning streets, leaped over swinging pendulums, climbed towers of twisting spring. She used every ounce of memory, every lesson Mr. Penumbra ever taught him. He spoke to the keepers, mechanical owls who guarded the hourglass. Gatesh tricked the Clockmites into chasing a runaway cogwheel straight into a trapdoor, and at last he stood before the heart. It was massive, a golden core, beating like a real heart, slowing, creaking, struggling to turn. Oliver reached out with trembling paws and turned the key. The heart of time pulsed. Lights lit up across the clockwork world. Clocks in the town above began to chime. Again, somewhere in the distance, a baby was born. Right on Timmy, a woman caught her train by seconds. A falling photograph was caught just before it hit the floor. The world ticked forward because of a hamster. And when Oliver returned to the shop, it was morning. The sun poured through the stained glass windows, and sitting behind the counter was a small package wrapped in velvet, with a note, "For the guardian of time, thank you." Inside was a new wheel, made of gold. It spun silently, perfectly balanced, just like time. Day, the shop still stands. Children pass by, pressing their faces to the glass. They say the clocks never stop, that no matter the storm, the power outage, or the season, they tick always. And if you listen very closely, you'll hear a squeak, a tiny scurry, and maybe, just maybe, the faint laughter of a hamster who saved the world. If you're still with me, Thank you. You've just heard the story of Oliver, the smallest guardian of time the world has never known. In the comments, tell us, if you found the key behind a clock, would you dare turn it? Like this video if you believe even the tiniest hero can change the world. Subscribe for more magical hamster tales, new ones every week. And share this story with someone who needs a little wonder in their day, because sometimes the best stories start when the ticking stops.